You know, the way that you might like zone out and have Netflix on at night, or the way you might just have like a YouTube video on in the background while you're doing other things. That's why I was kind of playfully encouraging some of my friends on the call today to turn on their cameras, because we want to encourage you to actively participate and get the best results from today's presentation. Okay, so we're hoping that some people would be brave enough to introduce themselves, tell us what they do, what their business is, and tell us a song that makes them feel happy. I know you think this is random. It's all going to help you be a better leader, I promise. Michael, I can see you. Tell me.
Sorry, can you repeat the questions? I was just getting emails. Sorry about that.
Introduce yourself, your business, and a song that makes you happy.
Awesome.
What's the song that makes me happy?
That's Farrell kind of messed that up, because now you only think of one. But I'm going to go with Bobby McFerrin. Don't worry, be happy.
Okay.
That's just so classic now.
Yeah.
Like me, I guess. I'm getting there. But I work for Bridge City News. I am the sales manager here. And worked in television since high school or college. So, yeah, been a great experience.
Awesome. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Cindy, I got to know your favorite song.
You know what? Probably, combination. There's a whole bunch of Beethoven sonatas that I just love. They make me very happy. Some Rachmaninoff preludes. But at the end of the day, you know, I love Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here.
Aww. Everybody knows who Cindy is, right, guys? Chris, I'm going to pick on you now. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, and a song that makes you happy?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. I'm Carissa Schlott, and I'm the manager of commercial services for TD Commercial Banking in Lethbridge. So I lead both the sales and the credit team at TD. I'm working from home still. We likely will be working from home until January. But I'm currently recovering from a concussion. I had an accident at a hotel I was staying at where a door contraption hit me on the head. So my favorite song right now is actually Fight Song by Rachel Platten.
Aww.
Fighting my way back to health.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Does anybody else want to share? Everyone wants to share, so I'll just let no one share, because that'll just be the most fair thing to do, right?
I was going to say something, Kelli-Rae.
I could share.
Please go.
Okay, yeah, so it's Evan Barr. I'm one of the partners at New Light Electric. So I actually started my apprenticeship here, and
awesome.
Left and stayed in contact with a few of the guys, and all of us that originally started our apprenticeship. There's 4 owners. We've returned back here, and we it's been great. And I guess for me, favorite song, I always have a favorite song. It just continues to change, depends on the day. But lately there's a new country song that's out. It's called Happy Hour by, I can't remember the artist, Cole something, but it's my new latest favorite song.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. That's so cool. That's what so Steve Neufeld, right?
Yeah.
Is he one of the partners still?
Steve Schaefer. Steve Schaefer.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I worked with Steve for a long time. He started at New Light as well, and we've all came back here.
So cool. Congratulations. That's really awesome. I love that. That's great when you can work from, apprentice right up to owner. I bet there's a lot of respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great. And Tracy, please.
I'm Tracy Hamilton. I'm the owner of Inspired Vacations, and the song that just keeps coming up and makes me happy, it's an old one, is Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams.
Good one. Okay, guys. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to get going here.
It's Jessica from South Country Doors and Ashley from South Country Doors. So.
Hi, guys.
Hey. I think I'll have to go with Anywhere by Sigla, because it's just like an upbeat, fun, get you moving kind of song.
Yeah, totally. Are you there too, Ash?
What's that?
Are you there too, Ashley?
I am, yeah.
What's your favorite song?
Man, I have too many. I can't.
Awesome. Okay, guys, I'm going to jump right in. So today, as I said, this is part 1 of 3 I'll try to be responsible with the time here. I get kind of carried away with leadership because I love it so much. You just have so much power, seems like not a big enough word, but you have the ability to just touch and change people's lives in such a massive way when you're in leadership that it just like it inspires me so much. So thank you guys so much for being on the call and for being the kind of leader that I wish for every employee. And I want to teach you today about how you can make a difference. And I want you to know that starting right at the end of this presentation, if you go back to work with the stuff that you've learned today, you'll make a difference right away. And I also want to address the misconception that most of us, I think in our early leadership days, at least I hope it was most of us and not just me, I was looking for the book that was like called How to Make Your Employees Do What You Want. And I couldn't find it. I just kept finding books that kept saying how to make me better as a leader. So that's really what leadership is all about, is inspiring people to do things, being a great leader, and having people want to do things for you. The next main point that we're going to cover is that it's not a bad thing that it's always you. It's a great thing, because when it's always you, you always have the power to make a relationship better, to have an employee perform better, to have a customer be happier. So it's always you, and that's a good thing. And then I will kind of summarize the points at the end of this presentation that we'll cover in part 2 and 3, just so you guys know what's coming up. Okay, if you can, I would really appreciate you taking some notes, and this is for you, not for me. When you listen, only 10% of the information will be retained. When you write it down, even if you don't ever read it again, 40 to 50% of the information will be retained. And if you actually move your body while you're learning, you write it down and listen, you'll retain 90 to 95%. So there will be a point where I say, you know, like, let's take a quick break, dance around, maybe you can turn on your favorite song. And some of this stuff might seem a little bit woo-woo or silly to you guys, but this is the culmination of all of the amazing leaders that I've learned from over the years and all the things that I have done myself that really work. So I ask you to trust me. You can turn your camera off when you do the dancing part. So first of all, I want to ask you guys, how do you define leadership? I'd like to get some people to share if you're open, but I definitely want you to write down what you think leadership is. Oh, you just went to get paper, hey, Carissa? I was like, oh, she tapped out. That's so early. She must have a headache. Or maybe you were doing the dance early, I was thinking.
Who uses pen and paper anymore, right? I do.
I do. I love it.
I
love it.
I have to. Yeah.
I love pen and paper. Pencils are not my favorite.
No. Well, a mechanical pencil, they are fun.
Yeah, if I'm going to use a pencil, it's going to be a mechanical pencil. But when they run out, it's just like, yeah, very frustrating. Okay, who wants to share? What is leadership? I can see Tracy, Evan, and Carissa, so those would be my people to pick on.
I could share what my thought, it's Evan here, of what a leader would be is someone that is willing to not just say, do as you say, but do as you do, willing to get right in with your employees and lead by example, whether that's help them with whatever they need and help motivate them, not so much talk down to them or tell them what they need to do, right? Just be one that can work right with them.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that. And that sounds like that's the kind of leader that you are, right?
Kelly Margaret has her hand up.
Margaret, please share.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, it's being able to listen and kind of understand where they're coming from before you continue with whatever it is that you think they should be doing?
Absolutely. Questions are your superpowers. I learned that once from a mentor. It's if you just talk the whole time and you're just trying to teach and lead and direct without asking questions, you're pretty much you have no tools. So that's great. That's awesome. Thank you. Does anyone else want to share? Okay.
I can piggyback on Margaret's if you want, Kelli-Rae.
Love to.
I feel like my leadership definition is constantly evolving, but this is what I have today. A good leader is bold, trusts themselves, says the hard things, listens, creates space, and opens the door for change.
Wow. Yeah, you should be a writer, girl. I think some of your Facebook posts that one gave me goosebumps too, but some of your Facebook post writings even give me goosebumps. I love that. Have you been reading Brene Brown?
I have, yes, and Glennon Doyle.
Okay. Yeah, amazing. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing. So I do want to, I'm a very positive person, very optimistic. I tend to focus on the good things and what we can do. But I can't skip this slide because this is like the most hilarious man in the world. So I want to just hear really quickly from a couple of people, like the worst boss I ever had was, like, don't tell names, but like tell us why they were bad. Even looking at him makes me laugh. He's so funny. And guys, I have allergies, not COVID, just so you know, if the runny nose.
Oh.
Who wants to share?
I have a great story of a terrible boss.
Okay, let's hear it.
So they could have made a movie about him. Fortunately, I don't remember his name. He was short and portly, but he had a volume of like 27, and it was like everything was yelling, ranting, raving, and he was, and just so, I'll say, uncouth. Just a very unpleasant individual. He ticked all the boxes for unpleasantness. Okay. Yeah.
Got it. Loud, mean, ranty. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Bad. Okay. What else we have? Indulge in the past horrible boss shaming just for a moment. Also, has everyone seen Horrible Bosses? Because that was probably the funniest movie I've ever seen. Jennifer Aniston is officially the worst boss ever, though. Does anyone else want to share before we move on?
I could share quick if.
Please do, Mitch. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, no, hi. I just thought I would share that because I think it's maybe an important experience, but right out of college, I had a really poor experience with a boss. So I felt like I came in with a ton of momentum coming out of school and wanting to be a good employee. And what I ran into was somebody who didn't seem to value anybody on the team. Definitely what we talked about amongst the other employees felt like a tube of toothpaste. We were just being asked to squeeze every last inch out of ourselves with no sort of care that we were getting worn out or that we didn't know what we were doing or we needed tools that we didn't have. It was just, we can just get everything we need out of you because I can replace you with another young person that wants to do this. So that was my experience.
I remember telling someone that they were replaceable when I was in my early leadership days. Isn't that the most horrible thing? Like that's for sure one of my most regrettable moments. Like, what a horrible thing to say. The truth is, in a really good business, when we have everything built properly, people are replaceable. But I mean, to say that to someone or to give them that impression, it's not kind. So I'm sorry to hear about that. But we're going to move on to good bosses now, because I can only stay in the negative for so long. Best boss. I want to hear about the best boss you guys ever had and what was so great about them.
For me, some of the best bosses that I had working through my career was ones that actually showed that they cared about me a little bit. It wasn't just all about work. Sometimes they asked how the family is doing and what you did on the weekend. They truly cared about me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And guys, even if you're not answering out loud with us, I really want you to answer these questions on your piece of paper or wherever you have room to write notes, because you're going to be when you answer these questions, you are changing, like you're forming new neural pathways. So don't just watch, don't just observe, answer these questions for yourself, because this is how coaching works. You show up and yes, you learn things and you write some things down, but you change during the process. When you come up with the answer, you change for the better. So come up with the answer and tell yourself, and share with us if you want, but just at least come up with your answer. The best boss you ever had was, and why were they so good? And how did they make you feel? And what did you think of them as a leader? Catherine, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, it's Carolyn here. One of
Hi.
my best bosses, she knew each member of the team, and she knew what strengths they brought to the team. So we always had a resident expert on various topics, and they were members of the team. So everybody knew kind of that they brought unique talents and ideas to the team, and were kind of recognized for those. And that created a really good environment. And that was, I thought, a good leadership strategy.
That is awesome. Utilizing people in their strengths. And so then they probably enjoyed their jobs more too, right?
150 billones de release para.
Sorry? Hey, Catherine.
Yes.
Are you monitoring the chat?
I am. I'm looking here. Yep. People are sharing comments.
Okay.
There hasn't been a question yet. Well, there's one. They said there are good bosses, ?
Oh, Kendra, you need to come work for me. I will take good care of you, I promise. That's so sad. Yes, there are good bosses. And if you're on this call, you're a good boss. Okay, let's get into it here.
Oh, did you want me to read a few of the comments?
It's okay. I just went through them. I just wondered if we had that, that thing that we did last time where you were kind of like, hey, address this. You'll still do that for me?
Absolutely. I'm on it for you.
Thank you. Okay, so I always tell people who come to me for coaching not to worry, because being a good leader is really actually easy if you're a good person. So I am very lucky in that I get to be very picky about who I choose to work with, and I only choose to work with really good people, so they're already good leaders. You basically have what it takes to be a good leader if you're on this call right now, if you're open to being better, if you are trying to learn to be a better leader for your people. And I often just tell my clients that being a good leader is simply just being a good person. So acting with integrity, honesty, and commitment to your mission. The rest of the business is just mechanics. And I think my friend Chris is on this call. I don't want to say it's just HR and it's just operations and it's just marketing and it's just financials, but all of those technical and procedural and systems and the other things we have to do in the business, nothing works. Like the best HR policies and procedures, the best operations systems and the most efficient operations and the best marketing plan and the most intelligent way of analyzing your financials will not get you a good business if you are not a good leader, because people will leave and it will cost you money and people will not do a good job and that will cost you customers and your job just won't be joyful and happy. And so you being your best is the absolute most important part of being a leader, not the other stuff. That said, we are going to teach about marketing and financials later, but that stuff's important too. But moving on here, a real leader is somebody who grows other leaders and leads by example, whether they intend to or not. So there's kind of two things I want to unpack here. I don't know about you guys, but when I was young, I felt like I wanted to protect my leadership job. So I didn't teach anyone else how to do it. I was like, no, I'm really good. I'm running this place. I'm a really good leader. Oh, it was so bad. And so when I left, I actually moved to Australia and someone else took my job. The company seriously went out of business. And I remember thinking, oh, I was such a good leader. They needed me. It went out of business without me. And as I grew up and got more intelligent and learned more about leaders, I realized that I had been a terrible leader because I hadn't put things in place so that someone else could step in. or that, you know, people are cross-trained so they can help out. So you always want to be growing other leaders in the sense that you're sharing books with them, you're sharing podcasts with them, you're teaching them. And then as you grow, like especially some of the people that are on this call, I know your businesses are basically like ground level. You've got a team of 5, but you're going to grow to 50 in the next 10 years. As you grow, you're going to need more leaders, you know, 1 leader for 7 people. And where are you going to get those people from? So a real leader should be constantly growing other leaders. So share this stuff with them. The second piece here, and this is so important, I should really put this on 2 different slides. Most of you, I think, are parents too, not just business owners, but this is a parent thing and also a business owner thing. You are always leading by example. And it doesn't matter if you want to be leading by example or you intend to, but people are watching you, right? So how you treat others, if you show up on time, if you keep your word, what you say about customers after they leave, you know, like people are always taking their cues from you. So you want to make sure that you're really clear on your values and your culture and your mission, and you act accordingly in front of your team all the time. And I mean, act accordingly all the time. Act according to your values all the time, because if you don't, it just feels bad. We all know that, right? Okay, the next big key to be a really great leader is always be growing. So constantly be looking for a podcast that you might like about leadership, or a book about leadership, or if you like audiobooks, or there's some good leaders on YouTube that you can follow, even Facebook, Instagram, anywhere that you like. What I love to do is sort of curate my feeds. So when I look on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, I've unfollowed or unfriended people who are negative and who are not talking about the stuff that I want to hear about. And I've followed so many people who are talking about what we can do, and the solution makers and the really successful leaders and the really amazing entrepreneurs. So my feeds are filled with those kind of people. So always be looking for places to be better. Always be growing, because it's our responsibility to have our team be awesome. And there's always something we can do better as leaders. So a lot of people will come to me and say, you know, I've tried everything with this employee, and I think I have to get rid of him because I've tried everything. And usually that's not the case. Usually we haven't, first of all, taken leadership training or read a leadership book, but you haven't given them a very, very clear job description and expectations. Maybe you haven't given them really clear goals. Maybe you haven't been coaching them. Maybe you didn't give them enough training. So when you think you're having trouble with an employee, always look first. Don't give up on them. Look first at what you can do better, because there's always something that we can do better. Okay, so this is that part where we're going to take a quick break, 5 minutes. We're going to come back here at 12:34. You guys can do whatever you want. I recommend turning on some music, moving around, maybe go get a drink, but definitely get up off your butt and move around a little bit, because that'll help you absorb some of this information that we're learning. And I'll see you back here in 5 minutes. Mute myself. I wish I knew how to do that. Screen sharing is paused.
What do you need, Kelly?
Polls are fun, actually. Gotta mute myself.
Have you ever felt like you could disappear? You could fall, no one would hear. Let that moment feeling launch away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stay, you can reach out your hand. And oh, someone will come running, and I know that take you home. Even when the sun comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, and when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look up. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found.
Have you seen this? Someone put a video of your speech online.
My speech?
People started sharing it, I guess, and now, I mean, Connor is
Your speech is everywhere. This morning, the Connor Project page, it only had 56 people follow.
How many does it have now?
4,239.
I don't understand. What happened?
You did. There's a place where you don't have to feel alone.
Everybody needs to see this.
Every time that you call out, you're a little less alone. If you only say the word, from across the silence, your voice is heard.
Share it with the people you love. Repost.
The world needs to hear this.
A beautiful tribute.
Favorite, I know someone who really needed to hear this today. So thank you, Evan Hansen, for doing what you're doing.
I never thought of Connor, but coming on here, reading everyone's posts, it's so easy to feel alone, but Evan is exactly right. We're not alone. We're not alone. None of us. None of us are alone.
Well, especially now, everything you hear in the news. Repost.
Thank you, Evan Hansen, for giving us the space to remember Connor.
Find each other. Here's the thing for Michigan, Vermont, and Missouri.
Thank you, Evan Hansen. Thank you,
Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. If you only look around, you will be found. You will be found. The morning is breaking and it's filling up the empty, and suddenly I see that all is you. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. Even when the dark comes crashing through, and you need someone to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you reach up and you rise again.
Hey, Catherine.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you have to allow me to share my slides again?
It should still be going. I can still see it.
Oh, well, I cannot. One moment. My screen sharing is paused. Resume share. There we go.
You can see your screen.
Thanks, guys.
Now there was one person said any good books or podcast recommendations, and some people have been putting some suggestions, but I don't know if you had any that you wanted to share, Kelly.
Yeah, Minnie's going to add some podcasts that we recommend, including mine, of course. And then at the end of all of my presentations, I always have a book list. So one of the last slides, I'll have recommended reading.
Perfect.
Awesome. So 12:35, we're gonna do another. Are these the poll results?
Those are the results of what everybody said.
Ah, awesome. These are fun. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so lots of information now to get through, okay? So we're gonna start to hustle a little bit here. So the best leaders are good people. They're kind, compassionate, and emotionally intelligent. So what does emotional intelligence actually mean? I think that term gets tossed around quite a bit. It's a quite popular term in the leadership field, but it's really the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and those of the people around you. So people with a high degree of emotional intelligence know what they're feeling, know what their emotions mean, and how these emotions can affect other people. And so we have this evil Mr. Burns picture on here for this. I don't know why we picked this guy. Mindy, let's change him for next time. But who do you think is more likely to succeed? A leader who's just like mean and angry and like pounds his fist on his desk and yells, or somebody who really keeps their cool and is really calm and is really chill with their people? It's obviously the person who's more emotionally intelligent, right? So there's 5 parts to emotional intelligence. The first part is self-awareness. So really understanding your feelings and how your actions affect others. Self-regulation. So the degree of control you have over your mood swings and impulses. So self-awareness, the first piece is like, and this isn't normal. These aren't normal conversations to be having. And you probably notice with a lot of your friends, if they're not doing personal development, you don't talk about this stuff very much, but actually checking in with yourself and saying, how am I feeling? That's a really good thing to do, especially before a meeting, before you talk to your team, before like this, for example, like I have to really make sure, how am I feeling? Good. I'm feeling excited. Great. Okay. And understand how that's going to affect others. Because if you come in and you're not aware that you're in a really bad or angry mood, and you maybe something's wrong at home and you come in and you don't have good self-regulation and you're just a grumpy Gus all day at work, you're going to be negatively affecting your team, their performance, the clients, and your bottom line every time. So emotional intelligence is really, really important. The third part is motivation. So you want to make sure you have passion and drive to work towards a goal. Because if you're coming in as a boss and you're just kind of like, meh, you know, like, sure, let's work on this project, and you're not excited about it, you're not passionate about it, you're not really leading the charge towards your goal or towards your mission or your vision, your team won't be motivated either. Empathy, so the ability to understand and respond to others' feelings. And social skills, so just the basic ability to build and manage relationships. So the more that you as a leader manage each of these areas, the better your emotional intelligence and the better your results. And you guys can have a copy of the slides and a copy of this presentation after if you guys want, if you weren't able to write everything down, because there's a lot more coming up here. These are my tips for improving emotional intelligence. So number 1, don't compromise your values, because you know that if you act out of accordance with your values, you feel bad, and you should, because you're not acting within your values, right? So don't ever compromise your values. Don't, especially in front of your team. Like, make sure that you stick to your values, your morals, your beliefs, and then hold yourself accountable. Always look to yourself first. So don't blame others. Start with your own responsibility in any situation. And so I really like this start with sorry idea with staff. If in any situation, no matter how much it looks like it's the employee's problem, if you can think, what could I have done better? And you sit down to have a conversation with an employee and you start by saying, I'm sorry that I didn't train you better on that procedure. Or I'm sorry that it has taken me this long to have this conversation. Or I'm sorry for anything, but you can take accountability for something. The defensive walls of the person you're talking to just come down and the conversation becomes so much better. And usually the employee will end up apologizing as well, as opposed to if you go in there and you just start talking about how what they did is wrong and you start blaming them. So own it, think of something you can be sorry for, and start those challenging conversations with, you know what, I'm really sorry that I didn't do this. Let's talk about how we can do that better together. Always, always stay calm. So one of my team members is in the room with me, and I know she knows this is not always possible. So I had a mini freak out a couple weeks ago. You know, when there's like several different companies and several different issues, and like everything just really overwhelms you and you're tired, and I wasn't being emotionally intelligent, and I was like, kind of lost it a little bit. So that doesn't work. That makes people run away from you. That makes people not want to work for you. So my recommendation, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect, and I know you can't be perfect all the time, but always, always try to stay calm, because that just works better and it makes people feel safer. Know your why. So this is a lot of information packed into this amount of time. So make sure that you guys come back and look at this. If you can't fully get through each of these points, if you can't fully absorb each of these points, make sure you come back and watch the recording. But knowing your why is, I think it's talked about a lot, and Simon Sinek really, I think, made this popular, but I don't think people really know their why. And there's a couple really cool books that you can read to figure out what your why is. Actually, Mindy, I'm going to get you to Google that because I can't remember the name of those books, and we'll add them to the last slide, figuring out your why. And I know I have it over here, I just don't know what it's called. But there's also this exercise that you guys can Google, 7 levels to why. And I think one of the videos has Gary Vee doing it, if you're a fan of him. If not, watch one of the other ones. But basically, we try to figure out at the deepest level why we're doing what we're doing and why that's important to us. And you just keep asking the question, well, why is that important? And why is that important? Until you finally realize, oh my gosh, like this means so much to me, and it's so important to me because of this. And when you remember what this is, it gets you out of bed on the tough days. It keeps you calm during the challenging meetings. It gives you the perseverance that you need, the persistence, the stamina that you need to keep going during the tough times. So if you don't know what your why is, I highly recommend doing one of those exercises, and we'll get you that book by the end of this presentation. We'll get it on there. And also at the end, we'll stay around for questions, and we can like play the what's your why game if you want. We can do that with one of you guys. So next is have goals and a vision to look forward to and focus on. So we always want to have something that's compelling, that's pulling us towards it, that is exciting to us and to our team. And so I love vision boards for this reason. I don't know if any of you guys do vision boards, but you put pictures up of the things that you really want to achieve, and you put that somewhere that you see every day. And I remember like 5 or 6 vision boards in a few years, I'd be like, yeah, check, 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 check. Like it works really well because you look at it every day, and then it sits in the back of your mind every day, and you act in accordance with getting to those things all throughout your day. So vision boards are really cool. Or I also like to write out my goals out every morning. But make sure that you have goals and a vision to look forward to and focus on. Now, I'm talking about you personally, but I'm also talking about you as a company leader. Now, if a company doesn't have a compelling vision and you don't reiterate that compelling vision often, you often have team members that are kind of engaged, sort of know what's going on, don't really care about their work. But if you can rally your team around a vision, like a long-term vision, like, guys, when we achieve this, it's going to be so amazing, and we're all going to feel so happy and wealthy and whatever it is, that's a high-performing team. So goals and a vision to look forward to, personally and at work. This one I took from Tony Robbins, and I really love it. Commit to spend 90 seconds or less on any problem, and the rest of your time on taking actions and solutions. Because really, you can clearly elaborate on any problem in 90 seconds. And then it's got to be like, tell this to your team, tell this to your partners, and hold each other accountable. Like Catherine and me, okay, if we're going to talk about a problem, we're going to 90 seconds, and then she's going to say, oh, ding, 90 seconds, no more talking about the problem. Because we're not fixing anything by talking about the problem. So after that 90 seconds is up, we don't spend any more time talking about the problem. We only focus on solutions or what we can do. And so sometimes if people are not negative, but if sometimes people are fixating on problems and they're not being solution oriented, I'll just write them a nice big sticky note that says, what can we do, in capital letters? What can we do? Because there's always something. What can we do? It's like, okay, I know what we can't do. I know what the problem is. Like, let's move on. What can we do? Next, respect your team and be compassionate. You want to treat people with love, respect, compassion. I want to say it was Mitch who said, no, I think it was, I can't remember. I'm sorry, guys. Somebody shared that they felt really cared about. And that is such an important piece of being an effective leader. Next, communicate clearly. So say what you mean and mean what you say. And Canadians are really bad at this, because some of my clients will say, I'll say, okay, did you have that tough talk that you wanted to have with your foreman or with your, one of your leaders? Well, I think he got the point. Okay, well, what exact words did you say? Did you say, we need you to do this going forward, or you can't have the job anymore? And he's like, well, I hinted at it. And it's like, no, clearly communicate. Say what you mean what you say, be direct. And you can do that with kindness, right? But don't be super Canadian and apologize and be polite and beat around the bush and hint at things. Just be really clear. And people love this. And I'm really direct all the time. I'm really straightforward all the time. And sometimes at the beginning, when you first meet me, you're kind of like, whoa, like that was a little bit much. But it's very efficient to communicate this way. Okay? Like, just say what you mean and mean what you say. And keep your word. And keeping your word it's so important, but it's also so much more than just doing what you said you would do. It is, if you said, that you would have a monthly meeting with your team every month, and then you just never set it up, or you never got around to it, you're not keeping your word. If you put a set of culture statements up on the wall and you say, we treat each other with kindness, and you're not treating somebody with kindness, you're not keeping your word. There's so many ways. So you want to be really thoughtful with your words. And then when you say something, you want to keep your word. It's really easy to destroy trust with people. You want to make sure that you're constantly building trust. Next, be easy to be around. Oh, yep.
We have a question.
Yeah.
Lindsay Davies said, how do you help with solutions while still being empathetic to the person's problem?
How do you help with solutions while still being empathetic to the person's problem?
I think of more context, Kelli-Rae.
Hey.
I think
Millones, pero creo que el tweet dice billones.
Some of the feedback is that me?
I don't know what's happening. Catherine, do you want to maybe mute everybody? Except
They
for
muted themselves. The person that was talking muted themselves.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Thanks, Mitch. I'm so glad you're here. Okay. Lindsay.
The context would be that sometimes solutioning makes someone feel like you're not being empathetic to the problem that they're experiencing. So what's a way that you can move on to solutions while still making that person feel like you're being empathetic and they're being heard and their problem is being, acknowledged, and you're kind of sitting in them with that?
Yeah, I get that. Well, you could do that for 90 seconds. And then after that, really the piece that I think is the most important is how you act, like care, legitimately care, and be like, I get that. That sucks. Acknowledge it. And then the way I like to solve problems is to ask them questions. So I don't want to be I don't know if you guys have ever seen that YouTube video about the nail in the head, where the wife has a nail stick out of her head, and the husband's like, you just take the nail out of your head, it would solve all your problems. And she's like, it's not about the nail. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay. Anyways, you should Google it. It's hilarious. But yeah, Lindsay, I would just be really caring and not be as flippant as I was when I talked about the 90-second thing. I wouldn't be like, okay, that's enough, 90 seconds. I think when I was talking about that example, I was more thinking of for example, our online store at one of my businesses, it isn't working, and so for me, for that, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's not working. What can we do to make things better? But if it was a personal problem or something difficult that they were experiencing, I think I would treat that with a lot more empathy and compassion. And yeah, I would say ask them questions, because it's really hard to solve the problem if you don't know all the details. So I would, with a lot of care and empathy, I would ask them a lot of questions to try to help solve the problem. Thanks for the question. Be easy to be around. So I don't know if any of you guys know these types of people. I call them social sandpaper. So you're in a room with them and you're just they kind of have this bad energy around them. They're not comfortable in their own skin. They're not happy. They're not, they interrupt people. They they're just difficult to be around. So you want to be the opposite of that. You want to be easy to be around. You want people to like being in the room with you. You want to be like someone who your employees love to hang around with. Does that make sense? Work on yourself. So read personal development books, like we talked about, books, podcasts, everything. So many great people to follow on social media now. And then the last point, a lot of people like to argue with me on this one, but I stick to my guns on this one. I love to just trust people and trust them, not blindly and stupidly. Like obviously, for example, with bookkeeping, you'll have practices in place to make sure that no one can steal from you, that sort of thing. But you trust people to do their jobs. You trust people to be good people. You trust people to be honest. And occasionally you'll get it wrong, and then you can deal with it. But if you go around with a distrusting attitude and your employees don't feel like you trust them, it's not good. It doesn't produce good results. There's not a good relationship there. When they feel like you don't trust them, it's just not a good situation. So I say err on the side of trust. Okay, this is a fun little thing that I added. I'm sure, Catherine, you probably noticed this. I added this since last time. So this is my secret weapon. And I have this thing printed out everywhere. It's on the inside of my cupboard where I get my coffee. It's on my nightstand. It's on my bulletin board. It's on my taped in the drawer in my desk, because controlling your emotions is such a big part of leadership. And one of my mentors shared this scale with me once, and it just made so much sense to me. So I'm going to share it with you. So this is like, number one is the best, the top, the highest. This is the way that you want to feel. You want to feel joy, appreciation, empowerment, freedom, love. Like that's the ultimate. We want to get there. But there's also all these different levels of feelings. And so what sometimes I used to do in my early days when I was learning about positivity, and one of my mentors in the beginning was Tony Robbins, I would try so hard to jump from like total despair and hopelessness, jump up to joy and appreciation. And that's like jumping 22 levels. And so that doesn't work. So I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that, if you've like woken up and you're having a bad day and you're trying to get yourself into like, oh, I gotta feel better. Like I have to do a good job today. And you're like forcing yourself to write, I'm so grateful for my bed. Like you're forcing yourself trying to get up to be an appreciation. It doesn't really work. That fake it till you make it doesn't really work. But what does work is moving up a few levels at a time. And I've been using this for so many years now that I can kind of find where I'm at and then just boop, 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 move myself up. So it takes practice, but the loop that most of us get caught in, and especially I like to say we're so Canadian because we're just so polite and we don't like to offend people. And a lot of us aren't very direct. So when we get angry, it's very much discouraged in our society. Even as kids, when you got angry, you were told, no, you don't get angry. Don't act angry, right? So a lot of times we are this is innately built into us. We're trying to get out of hopelessness or insecurity or guilt or jealousy. And we're trying to feel better. So we get angry. And if you can think back to the last time you got angry, it was probably because you're trying to pull yourself out of one of those lower emotions. But when you get shamed for being angry, even by yourself, you just go back down to feeling unworthy or hopeless or in despair. And so you've got this loop going on. And so what you really want to do is take this and identify how you're feeling and just try to climb up 1 or 2 levels. And I know this is a lot to take in, and this is huge, but this is why you're getting the recording. You can come back and watch it, and you're also going to get the slides. You can come back and look at it. But I just wanted to share this with you guys because I think that when you're teaching, you have to share what you really use. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really use this. I really use all of this stuff. And this is something that, it's really powerful. And I really hope it works for you guys. So if you have any questions about it later, we can totally talk about it. I wanted to have you guys share with us really quick, just one person, I think. What time do you want us to be done by, Catherine?
Sorry,
1:30?
Myself. Really, I think people are going to start leaving around 1, so wherever we can.
Okay, we'll skip this one then.
Okay.
Okay, so here's some more characteristics that are really important for good leadership. Authenticity, relatability, being open, letting yourself be vulnerable, but in the healthy way. Read Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. Can we add that to the last slide, please? Because you don't want to be vulnerable in a manipulative way. You want to just be like healthy, vulnerable. Be kind, be supportive, be there for your staff. And I also wanted to do this exercise with you guys really quick. So we have 4 minutes left. Let's do this. So I want you guys to close your eyes. And I want you to think about something that makes you feel really, really grateful. Like so, so grateful that it almost makes you cry. Just really think about it. It might be like a moment. If you can just get yourself back to that moment and just be right in that moment. And just say thank you. So now guys, I know that if you did this exercise with me, that all of you are feeling good. Because we forced ourselves to focus on a thought that made us feel good. And this may seem very, very simple to some of you, but this is the most important thing that you're going to take away from today. You control how you feel by what you think about. Every single time, what you think makes you feel, and you control about what you think about. So if you can put yourself back to that grateful moment for a second and really get into a feeling good place and go into a meeting with that kind of feeling and that kind of face on, you're going to have a lot more success with your people. So just keep that in your pocket. You know, if you're not having a good day, or if you're feeling frustrated or annoyed or any bad emotion, you have that emotional skill you can look at, but also remember at any moment you can make yourself feel that good. Okay, I think we're perfectly on time now. So I would love to hear from you guys. And please share with us. And please, if you don't share with us, that's okay, but please write these things down because these are some of the most important things from today. So please share or write down, what are you committed to take away and apply in your business? What's one thing that you're like, I am going to do that for sure. And then I want to know how you think it will change things. And then because I am an integrator and an executor, and I really want to make sure this happens for you, I want to know what will be your system for making sure that it happens consistently. Chris Broughton, my friend.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. You know, something that I've consistently worked on for many, many years is emotional intelligence. And I still don't feel as if I'm where I want to be, where I need to be. And I think that's something that I certainly, you know, every time I hear the words emotional intelligence, I go back to the fundamentals about understanding how my own emotions are impacting the decisions made in the business and how it's impacting the team. And I think that's the biggest thing that, you know, that I consistently look for whenever I'm in these situations is the emotional intelligence, because it really does have an impact.
Awesome. So you're going to be more emotionally intelligent?
That's the hope. Yes.
You can do it. And how do you think that will change things?
You know, I think it's, again, being aware of how my own emotions and how the emotions of my team are impacting the decisions and even the service that we're providing the clients.
Yeah, great. Okay. So what's going to be your system for making sure this happens consistently? And it can be anything. Like it can be like a timer on your phone, a daily reminder in your calendar. Brendon Burchard likes to do, like, when you walk through a doorway, have that cue you to remember, how do I feel? How am I being? What can you put in place to make sure that that happens consistently?
Good question. I think a lot of it comes down to just the training and looking for the cues. You know, as far as a system to put in place, I don't know. I think that's a great question. I think that's something, you know, to you know, think about and reflect upon how I can put a system like that in place.
Do you have a mirror near your meeting room?
No, I don't.
Probably wouldn't, in a man's office. Is that not a thing? I have mirrors everywhere. Actually, yeah, I usually use the camera for the mirror, but that might even be a thing if you just saw, you know, like as you walked by, if you noticed a mirror, you'd be like, oh, how does my face look like I'm feeling? You know, just check in.
Yeah.
And share with your wife, share with your team, you know, like have them keep you accountable. Tell them, hey, you know what? Tell them, hey, I'm working on being more emotionally intelligent and more calm and more aware. So can you just help keep me in check? You know, give them permission to say, like, how are you feeling?
For sure.
Yeah. Does anybody else want to share what you're committed to take away and how you think it will change things?
I think, Kelly, for myself, I've never really been a big goal guy. Like I say, yeah, I want to be successful and have a successful business, but the details of those goals. So that's my takeaway is just, you know, work and actually have a vision and goal board, right? And start working on that together with my other partners.
Yeah, and it'll be awesome if you've never done it before. And if you use pictures, or even if you just write them and then you just have it up there somewhere you walk by every day, that will magically change your life, I promise. Like just having those up, oh, that'll be so good. That's awesome. Awesome. Anybody else want to share? If not, I'll switch to my list of books here.
Yeah, I'm gonna share something here.
Thank
So
you.
I think what I'm gonna take away is gonna be communicate clearly, because sometimes being in the leadership position, you don't actually communicate. You can communicate, but others may not actually understand what you mean by what you're saying. So it's really good to break down what either you expect or you want them as a vision, or what you actually have in your mind so clearly, so anyone can actually fit into, to avoid some issues or some misunderstanding. So yeah, in my case, usually I feel like that communication part is not really high as I am moving toward that leadership position. And then moving forward, I think, yeah, I will actually just gonna go sit down and then learn how to communicate clearly, whether to my executive management or to my own team.
Okay, I love this. This is really great. And in part 2 and part 3, we're going to get into a lot more technical, like documents and systems and things that you can do to make sure that you communicate clearly. But I think when you said writing it down, I think that's really key, because a lot of us learn differently. And so even like Catherine and I actually had a really hilarious miscommunication about today's presentation. She had been emailing me and she's like, oh, I want to add pools to the presentation. And I was like, no, pools? What? No, this is last minute. We can't add this. It's so confusing. And then today I realized that she meant polls. So like you have to over communicate, absolutely, to make sure that things are clearly shared, especially with what's expected from employees, what their goals are. And then, yeah, so great. Writing it down helps a lot. Writing it down and talking.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. Awesome. Awesome. I'm so excited for part 2 and part 3 now. I just want to do them right now. Okay, so if nobody else wants to share, these are some recommended leadership books of mine. They're some of my faves. There are so many good leadership books. And pretty much every artist or author, that I've written down here, anything that they've written is good. But these are the ones that I usually recommend first. And Maximum Achievement is on there because that is, I don't know if any of you guys know Brian Tracy. I think he must be like 90 something now. He's still on social media doing videos. But that was the first social or personal improvement book my mom ever gave me. I was 16. And I wish I had read it when I was 16, but I didn't get around to it until I was about 22. But that is a classic. It's a great book. And then anything by Dale Carnegie for sure. Did we end up finding that one book about finding your why? No? I'll find it. You wish?
Like there's just this send it to someone.
Oh, okay. I'm going to find another one too and send it to Catherine, and maybe she'll send it out to you guys with the recording. Just the one I was talking about finding your why. Does anybody have any questions? This is Leadership Part 2. It's going to be October 27th at noon. We're going to talk about challenging conversations, how questions are your superpower, certain questions that you should ask your staff, questions you should ask your clients, problem solving, being intentional, pivoting for COVID, problem solving for leaders, your gigantic to-do list, and the 20 outrageous ideas problem solving game. And this is my humble ask. If you guys enjoyed today's seminar, that you Google TMH Business Coaching and please leave a review with comments if you could take a couple minutes and do that. I would really appreciate that. Questions? Anyone? Am I missing anything in the chat, Catherine?
No, but I saw a lot of people said quite a few comments that they really appreciated what they heard and that they're going to take it back to their staff and team leaders and such. So that's really exciting. And if anybody wants to email us and let us know how those conversations went, we'd love to hear the feedback. So thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
awesome.
Thank you for participating.
Yes, thank you guys so much for being here with me. I know Zoom is so not the same as being in the room, but I can't tell you how happy I was to see that 66 people were going to be here today, and I think everyone stayed right till the very end. So thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing day, and thanks for having me as always, Catherine.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this for us and collaborating with us. And ATB, Lindsay's in here representing as well. Thank you for collaborating with us on this as well, Lindsay. So
awesome.
We appreciate
it. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. We'll see you